What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL week number 15 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, moneyline underdog parlays, anytime touchdown parlays. But of course, as always, we're going to build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuck. What is going on? You've been hot this year. You're up 47-34 in our six-pack contest. How's it going, man?
Good. It's a good week for the pod. I think we both went 2-1. I think we both hit our totals.
Yeah. No. I didn't hit my total.
Well, I hit my total, hit my money line
Steelers.
dog. You got
Yeah.
Wilson touchdown. Sadly,
Yep.
we couldn't get the long shot in, but it was a good week. But I will say it was lucky, and that was nice for once. I had the Raiders.
Oh, that
So
was amazing.
shout out Brandon Jones for the delay of game. Shout out Pete Carroll for kicking the field goal. One of the luckiest covers I will ever have. So I will cherish that one. That
Talk about a
was
lucky cover. Didn't you have you were with me on the Monday night under too, right? Like the Jalen Hurts just throw the ball away at the end to save the under.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have the under there. I had the Chargers tease just to close out a teaser.
Ah,
Um, but yeah, it's a good week, but who cares? We're on to the next, and we are on to week 15 with some crazy quarterback news. I mean, we don't know who's going to be quarterback for the Jets. Is Philip Rivers, grandfather Rivers, going to be the quarterback? So we'll talk about those games later, and then we have some bangers with major playoff implications. Bills, Patriots, Ravens, Bengals, Chargers, Chiefs, uh, Packers, Broncos, Lions, Rams. So yeah, there's some bangers on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it and hopefully can find some winners.
yeah, I'll probably get your thoughts at the end of the six pack on just some of those AFC teams if you're buying low on any of them. But let's go through the six pack first. Start us off. Week number 15, Sunday six pack. Where are you going first?
All right, for my first pick of the Week 15 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills pick at the New England Patriots. This time of year, not going to find a ton of like huge line discrepancies between what I make numbers and what I don't, but I like this for a number of reasons. One, I'm going to war with Josh Allen, who I just need to win the game. If you're interested in trends as a dog or a favorite of less than a field goal, he's 30, 14, and 2 against the spread. Only Brady and Breeze have been more profitable. 18, 8, and 2 against the spread on the road. 19 and 7 against the spread when the spread is under 3 in either direction. So like that's 73%. Does I just need Allen to win the game in a game that's supposed to be competitive. I'm taking him over pretty much anyone right now. Also, home teams off a bye. You're going to hear a lot about this. Vrabel 6-0 against the spread after the bye. I get it. Like one of the games, it was a Tuesday with COVID. There was Taylor Heineke, rookie Trevor Lawrence. I don't put too much stock in that. I do think home teams off the bye are overrated in market in general. I mean, over the past 10 years, 42% against the spread, 40% in the division where home field advantage is, about 50% less overall. It's cold. There's potential snow outdoors, 1 o'clock start. Like Bills are all used to all of those things. May in the past has had some issues with conditions. That's not if it snows or if there's any conditions. Yeah, I mean, Allen is as good as it gets. We saw that last week. There's also some potential regression coming for the Patriots. They've been pretty lucky in a number of different areas. They're 14 of 18 on fourth downs, number one in the league. They're number one in EPA per play on fourth downs, 1.7. I mean, you're talking like uh, on average, when they go for it, close to a field goal per game. Their opponents are 7 of 22, so their defense is number 3 in the NFL on fourth down. So their fourth down swings in these games have been pretty drastic in benefit of the Pats. They've also had 15 fumbles. They've only lost 7. They've recovered 70% of their opponent's fumbles. Drake May, look, he's been amazing. I'm in on him, but he's been a bit fortunate. He has 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He has 22 big time throws, 13 turnover worthy plays. Allen, for example, is 22 to 10 and 18 to 11. So like right in line with what you would think. Here's the thing. And then how I think this game's going to play out. So the Bills don't play a ton of single high, and they play a lot of zone. That's not ideal against May, who I think is going to move the ball here, but I think that the Bills can bow up in the red zone, and that's where the Patriots have lots of issues. They're 24th in red zone touchdown percentage on offense, and they really just struggle to finish drives once the field kind of condenses and you take away that deep ball of Drake May. The Bills, on the other hand, pretty good at finishing off drives. They're ninth in the NFL, and the Patriots on defense are dead last in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. Additionally, their run defense, which was great early on in the season, well, you lost Milton Williams. Tonga's dealing with an injury, but since they lost Milton Williams, 31st in rush success rate allowed. That is critical against the Bills, so we know when to run the ball. Yes, they might get Jared Wilson back, their guard, but he's been terrible. I don't really care about that. It's the tackle. Will Campbell's been good as a rookie. His backup, Vadarian Lowe, is unplayable. He'll be in there at left tackle. The Bills can still get pressure. I do believe Spencer Brown is going to be a go back for the Bills on the offensive line. Bosa practiced today. That's important because they can get pressure. Bernard, who I think is washed, but rather have Thompson in there. He might be back. So Bills trending up health-wise. First meeting these teams played, the Bills had 3 turnovers and 11 penalties, and the Pats won on a walk-off 50-yard field goal. And here's the thing. Here's who the Pats have played the single easiest schedule by far in the NFL. Everyone knows this, but listen to the quarterbacks they beat. Right? They lost to Rodgers and Geno at home. Their best win is the Bills by 3. Here are the quarterbacks they beat besides Allen. Dart, which was a special teams game. The Giants special teams melted down. Bryce Young, another special teams meltdown. Penix, they won by 1 on a missed extra point. Like, I didn't even get into the special teams. Like, the Pats special teams been good, their return game, but they've had these games where these other teams just implode on special teams. Flacco without Chase, Justin Fields, a tanked Baker Mayfield, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, Spencer Rattler, and Tua. I mean, you're talking about 7 of their 10 wins have come against quarterbacks that are no longer starting or rookies. So, I mean, I think we're at the peak of the market on the Pats. They've won 10 straight. They've covered 8 of 10. I'm going to trust Allen to get his revenge here, get it done on the road. I think the Bills will be able to run the ball here. I think they're going to finish drives off more efficiently, and I think they get the win. Give me the Buffalo Bills pick in Foxborough.
Yeah, I should be joining you on this. I agree. I think the Patriots, they're really good. I had over their win total. I think that cashed already, but they are still, I think, like an above average, not elite team. The Bills have been elite at times. They're probably not elite this year, but desperate, kind of a must-win game for them just because of the division. They're still probably not going to catch New England, but I still think Buffalo is going to go all out for this one. So I agree, especially at a pick. All right. For my first pick in the second overall of the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers -2 at the Denver Broncos. And on the surface, this just kind of looks like 2 teams that are pretty good. Denver's at home, has a good home field advantage. So you say, why fade the Broncos? Schematically, I think this is a big edge for the Packers. The Broncos defense plays single high safety at the 6th highest rate, about 55%. Jordan Love, first in EPA per dropback against single high, 1st in total EPA against single high, 6th in success rate against single high out of 39 qualified quarterbacks. And what does the Broncos defense do even more than play single high? They play man coverage. They're 1st in the league in man coverage rate. Jordan Love, 1st in the league in EPA per dropback against man coverage, 2nd in total EPA versus man, 3rd in success rate against man, and 2nd in total touchdown passes against man coverage with 17. So Jordan Love can beat this coverage. You got Jaden Reed back. That helps, and Musgrave. So the big loss is Tucker Kraft, obviously. He was great against man coverage, especially single high looks. But who was even more efficient on, obviously, a smaller sample? Luke Musgrave. So this might be a game where they can unleash him a little bit. Their tight ends have just been kind of all splitting snaps, but really like this spot. Also, if you're going to beat the Broncos finally, you're probably going to have to convert 3rd down, red zone. Broncos #1 defense on 3rd down, #1 defense in the red zone. Packers on offense, #1 on 3rd down, #2 in the red zone. So I think Green Bay can get the ball in the end zone here more than most of these teams have against the Broncos. And that's important because the Broncos, every game almost is a one-score game for them. Let's see. So they had a 8-point win over the Titans, 1-point loss to the Colts, 3-point loss to the Chargers. They beat the Eagles by 4, the Jets by 2, the Giants by 1, the Texans by 3, the Raiders by 3 and 7, the Chiefs by 3, and the Commanders by 1 in that crazy game a couple weeks ago. So all these games are not just one-score games, but a lot of them are inside a field goal or at most a field goal. So Green Bay being able to turn what a lot of offenses end up, kicking a field goal into a touchdown here, I think is big. Also, Green Bay's had kicking issues this year, but their kicker, McManus, has kicked in Denver for a good portion of his career. So I'm hoping that, pays off and he does not shank kicks, because Green Bay, that's been one of the reasons Green Bay has just been, they're a luck side for us this week too, because, and that's part of the reason they've just been terrible at kicking, but luck sides this year are 60.5% against the spread at 23 and 15, covering by 2.6 points per game. And also, by the way, like the matchup on the other side as well. Pack played zone, third most.
Zone.
Yeah, a lot of zone. And we know, just like Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix struggles against zone. Now, against the Raiders, I thought he did a decent job in that last matchup, but you look up and he still had to complete like 31 passes just to get 216 yards or whatever it was. He's 22nd in EPA per dropback against zone, 8th versus man, 6.2 yards in attempt versus zone. That's 35th, bottom 5 of 39 qualifiers in yards per attempt against zone coverage. Against man, he's middle of the pack at 18th. And then his success rate against zone coverage, bottom 3, 37th at 42%. Against man, he's top 10. So this is just schematically a perfect matchup for the Packers. And they can, more than most offenses, get the ball in the end zone against this Denver D. So give me the Green Bay Packers -2. We consider playing the money line if it doesn't, if the numbers still hover.
Yeah, I'm waiting on a cheap money line.
Yeah,
just lower scoring, kicking issues. But I agree from a schematic perspective. Yeah, you don't have to convince me to fade the Broncos. By the way, we're fading two teams that have won 10 straight games. They might both close as home dogs since 1980, when both teams have their starting quarterbacks. It's only happened one time.
Oh.
Never in the regular season. And it happened in the 2005 AFC Championship game when Ben Roethlisberger faced Brady. Pitt was a +2.5 at home on a 10-game winning streak, and the Patriots won 41-27. So that's it. That's the only time it's happened. The last time before then, 1976, between a game between the Steelers and Raiders. But I agree, it's great schematic matchup, big quarterback advantage. And I think the Pack get it done. They're starting to ascend and stamp themselves as a legit contender for a Super Bowl. So yeah, I like the Packers as well.
Are we going next?
For my second pick and the third overall of the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs -4.5 at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. Everyone's been betting the Chiefs over the last month. I've avoided the desperation must win. I thought that they were overvalued in most spots. I think that this line is fine to back them for a number of reasons. One, Chiefs close higher than this against the Texans, who have a couple points better than the Chargers right now. The Chargers, they're on short rest after a Monday night game with travel, going into what it's going to feel like, 10 degrees for an indoor team. That's probably not great for Justin Herbert's hand. The Chargers also just are incapable of operating a functional offense right now with the current state of their offensive line. They give up a 70% pressure rate last week. 70. Herbert was sacked 7 times. That was against an Eagles defense that doesn't even get as much pressure as the Chiefs, and they didn't have Jalen Carter. And this is what that offense, since they've had offensive line issues, has done on the road. Lost to the Giants, barely beat the Dolphins, got destroyed by the Jags, and barely beat the Titans. this offense just is not going to be able to function in a hostile environment with the state of that offensive line and a defense that can get pressure at a top 5 rate. The Chiefs have also played the significantly tougher schedule. They're 35 net points better than the Chargers. They've just been very unlucky in one-score games compared to last year. And I like the matchup for the Chiefs offense. Chargers play the highest rated zone in the league. Mahomes, even with this offense, which is still wonky at times, it's still shred zone. Their receivers kind of struggle to get separation against man. But against zone this year, 55% success rate, 45% against man, 74% higher EPA per play against zone. They do have some offensive line injuries, the Chiefs, but it looks like Trey Smith is practicing today. That's a good sign. Um, I liked what I saw from Esapole if they have to go to him. But this is a Chargers team. This isn't the Texans. I mean, the Chargers are 24th in pressure rate. So they're going to play a lot of zone, don't get a ton of pressure. I trust Mahomes to move the ball here. And I trust the Chiefs to get pressure and just crumble this Chargers offense that's completely broken right now. They played a just defunct Eagles offense that didn't have Lane Johnson. They didn't have Jalen Carter. They turned the ball over 5 times, and they needed a goal line stop in overtime to win at home. This team is not good right now. So I think the Chiefs have been like they've been on the precipice of winning like that. I mean, they should have, I don't know, 7-8 wins this year. This is like a take out your frustration game with revenge from earlier in the season. I think the Chiefs win by 14 plus. Give me Kansas City at home.
Yeah, I'll have more on this game in a bit, so we'll just go to my next pick. But before we continue with the Sunday six-pack, just a reminder, you could tail the bets we discussed in today's show by finding the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. You can also go to actionnetwork.com/bet now to find those quick slips, or even better, sign up for Action Pro. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Stuckey, Brandon Anderson, and myself track picks in the app. You'll also get real-time money percentages to see where the smart money is flowing, and access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner and the predictive analytics team. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to get started and use promo code POD20, that's POD20, for $20 off an annual subscription. The rest of our Sunday six-pack is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings' same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right, for my second pick, the 4th overall of the Week 15 Sunday six-pack, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings plus 6.5 at the Dallas Cowboys. Be sure to shop around. I've seen anything from 5.5 to 6.5 out there as we record this, but Minnesota's defense, I think, is interesting here because it's held its last 3 opponents under 300 total yards, including the Packers in Week 12, to 288. They're averaging 345 against everyone else. The Seahawks to just 219 the next week. They're averaging 365 against everyone else. Dak Prescott, he's been good against the blitz. He's been good, period.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You worried about him against the blitz and them hitting explosive passes?
Yeah, so in theory, Dak Prescott, good against the blitz, but he's been so good that his EPA per dropback actually decreases when he's blitzed versus when he's not blitzed. So it's kind of like a situation where I'm just going to kind of buy low on this Vikings defense. I still don't think they're quite getting the respect. I know it was the Commanders that they shut out, which is not a big deal, but they have everything kind of set up here to at least give the Cowboys some problems. I mean, the Cowboys have just been coasting here. We'll see about CeeDee Lamb. Looks like he probably is going to go.
I'm surprised by that. He was like fencing. That looked like a serious concussion. I know he has a couple extra days, but yeah, it looks like he's trending in the right direction, which surprised.
Yeah, 9 days. 9 days is usually the median, so that's kind of right on there when you go down on a Thursday. It's kind of right in that window. So we'll see. But I mean, could get lucky here. And maybe get some CD Lamb out last minute, something like that. Who knows? I mean, practice reports on Wednesday, it's hard to really tell. But flipping over to the offense, JJ McCarthy still not good. I do like that. O'Connell apparently went to him before that last game and said, just stop worrying about all the technical stuff and just make quick decisions. Don't worry about like the footwork and all that stuff. And he did look better. Now he's
Yeah, his
been
completion
unlucky.
percentage over expectation was about just at like 0, so that was
Yeah,
way better. He still had
yeah,
some mechanical issues, but the whole operation looked better.
yeah. And I mean, if that was part of the cause, that's a good thing then, because we know O'Connell usually is good with these quarterbacks, no matter who they are. So there had to be something there. So if he figured that out, you're getting some added value here. But he's also just been unlucky. A 6.6% drop rate. That's fourth highest of 39 qualified quarterbacks. Dallas plays a ton of zone. McCarthy's drop rate versus zone even higher, 7.1%, which is also top 4 out of 39 qualifiers. So Dallas defense still dead last in passing yards allowed, dead last in passing touchdowns allowed, second to last in adjusted net yards in attempt, second to last in DVOA, third to last against the pass. So if there's any defense that McCarthy can have another decent game against, it's this Dallas defense. Minnesota on the year 23rd in DVOA, Dallas 19th. So Dallas's schedule's been Dallas's schedule's been a little bit easy too. But you look at weighted DVOA, which takes more recent games into account. Minnesota 21, Dallas 20. So the quality differential between these teams isn't a ton. It's just the quarterback play for the Vikings has been so up and down Wentz is like the high watermark essentially for quarterback play. So there is some upside here, even beyond the number, but I make this number well inside of 6, around 4.5 ish. So for me, it's just a value thing. Weeks 15 and 16 road dogs by at least a field goal, but no more than one possession. So +3 to +8, 121, 81, and 7, 60% against the spread over the past 2 decades. Give me the Vikes.
Yeah, this line's too high. I mean, we're asking the Cowboys to win by 7+ with still a very shaky defense. And yeah, I was on the Vikings last week. I thought they were undervalued in
What a
market.
play.
Well, yeah, that was nice. Those are they're not easy in the NFL to find those that are just sweat free. The Vikings had a 19 play, 12-minute, 99-yard touchdown drive. Uh, that was um, that was very fun to watch. So yeah, their defense now is healthy. Offensive line also trending up health wise. They've had so many offensive line injuries. Like before last week, they only had one game where their starting 5 all played together on the offensive line. So yeah, I think this line is too high.
By the
So
way,
I'll be with you.
sorry, I was gonna say Dallas Cowboys number 30 in DVOA against number 1 wide receivers. Vikings did all that last game. Justin
Without Jefferson
Jefferson
doing
still
anything.
nothing. So yeah, there's a lot of upside I think with this Vikings team. I mean, it could go horribly wrong, obviously, but that's any bet. So yeah, give me the give me the Vikes.
All right. We're gonna recap our quarterbacks. So far, I have Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. What is going on? I
Okay,
might
yes,
be
this is
getting
my week to
sick.
catch up to you. Then
I might be
I got
getting sick.
McCarthy and who's my other one? Oh no, I got Jordan Love. Yeah, too many
Yeah,
good quarterbacks.
what's going on with us? We might have
It is
a virus. We have 3 top 10 quarterbacks so far, but
disgusting.
that changes now. For my third pick of the week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns +7.5 at the Chicago Bears. This sucks. I don't want to do this, but I have to. I make it under a 7. It's also a tough spot for the Bears, right? It's this game sandwiched in between huge games against their rival Packers, which will probably determine their chances of winning the division, going to the playoffs. Like they're still going to try here, but they need this game for the playoffs. All the pressure's on the Bears, but I could see them being just a little flat. It's going to be freezing cold. It's like -10. Like it's just going to be a running game, low scoring. I'll make the Bears prove that they can win by more than a touchdown. Look, there's also the Bears turnover regression. It's going to come at some point. Like Caleb's gotten away with some throws. Their defense not going to continue getting 2, 3 turnovers every single week. They lead the league by a wide margin in that department. If you remove turnovers, this defense is 31st in EPA per play. Kyler Gordon hurt again. Johnson still doesn't look right. So their secondary isn't fully healthy, and they can't get pressure. And in a game where both teams are going to run the ball, the Browns defense is first in rush success rate allowed. The Bears are 28th. Now, you might say, what the Titans last week? It is a concern of mine. But like, is Malik Collins now, is he like Aaron Donald on steroids where he's that important? I can't just say that Malik Collins being out now, this defense can't stop the run. He's a good player, but he's not that good. So I still think the Browns have the better run defense. Now, this where it gets scary is this offense.
The
I thought
O-line.
Sanders has looked better than I thought he would. And luckily the Bears don't get pressure. So that might help with some of the sacks. And they're just going to throw short passes. They're going to throw it to my guy Fannin a bunch. They're going to try to run the ball, and you can run it on the Bears. The Browns also, by the way, like this, the Browns are off two misleading finals. Like they outgained the Titans by, I don't know, 120 yards. Against the 49ers, that game was really unlucky due to special teams, botched fourth downs. I mean, the yards and yards per play were dead even in that game. And now we're saying like the Bears at 7.5. I mean, this is just too high. I think it should be under a touchdown. Now, where it gets scary, really, really scary, is the injuries to the Browns offensive line. This is my biggest concern. You have this offensive line with, I think, and like the defense has some injuries, but they're going to be like Collins. But I think Ward's going to play. He hasn't been great this year, but he should play. He has a calf injury. Otherwise, you're down to a guy who's just on the practice squad. But the offensive line potentially, I really hope Conklin plays, but it's going to be their 12th different offensive line combo because their center just went on IR. So you're going to get Weipler, who's horrendous. He's now the sample size is small, but it's not good. But if you don't, so it looks like it might be Robinson, Batonio, Weipler, Jenkins, who I like. He's fine. And then at right tackle, you might have Leviston, who's unplayable. So Weipler and Leviston in there with a rookie quarterback on the road, it's scary. And they might not even just be able to run the ball because of that. But this Bears defense is not good. I mean, look, this is a Bears team that on the season, and I love this Bears team. I have bets on them to win the division over their win total to make the playoffs. But I mean, this is a team that they beat the Steelers at home with Mason Rudolph by 3. They beat, and that spread was 2.5. Like we're saying, the Steelers are like 5 points with Mason Rudolph better than the Browns. I don't think so. They beat the Vikings on a last second. They beat, but they're by 2. They beat the Giants coming from behind by 4. They beat the Bengals coming from behind by 5. So like they beat the Commanders with a bunch of like they won by 1. They beat the Raiders by 1. Like this team doesn't blow out anyone, doesn't get margin. I'm taking the 7.5. I think it's a good spot for the Browns. I'm sure the Bears will win. I'm sure if the Browns have a chance to win, they'll go for 2 and use a botched play to ensure they don't win for draft positioning. But I make it under 7 is the key thing here. And in a battle in the freezing cold where both teams want to run the ball, I still trust the Browns run defense much more. So give me Cleveland. Curious to get your thoughts here.
Yeah, I make this line around just under 6 actually, but I'm kind of holding out just because I really don't know what's happening with this O-line. Like, is Conklin going to be back for sure? I know, concussions.
I think maybe he wasn't there today.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
his second of the
concerning.
year.
That's concerning. And so that it's just kind of like Shador's been better than I expected. He's gotten the ball down the field a little bit. He's gotten the ball, to receivers who have made plays for him. But if this is like, that he could have peaked already, like this, because we've been waiting for him to just have like one of these absolutely horrible games, and it's like the entire offensive line essentially could be out. Because even you said Batonio, isn't he questionable too?
Yeah, but I think he's going to go from what I've been told.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's got a knee injury, that's not great. Like these guys are tough, but who knows if that affects him. So that, like, I'm really concerned about the cluster O-line injuries, especially because the Browns are such a tight end centric team.
Yeah, Njoku might not play either.
Yeah, and just like if you're gonna have Fannin having to chip, that's gonna just ruin your offense even more. So Bates, their blocking tight end, is on the injury report as well for somehow. So yeah, there's just a lot of injury information. But like all things considered, if the Browns are in reasonable shape, yeah, I would make this like under 6. So I'm just kind of holding out. I want to bet the Browns, but I got to see more from the injury report. We're recording this Wednesday afternoon. Haven't seen too much yet, but I probably need a Friday report. To be honest, just because their seasons in the tank are, who knows who they hold out and who they don't. But yeah, if all things considered, I do think the Bears are overrated here. And I mean, they won by margin against the Eagles, whose offense we see now is so. May join you, but gotta see the O line because Shador behind a terrible O line. Remember that preseason game when we were in Chicago and it was like
Yep.
-27 net yard. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
It could go completely sideways, but I'm
Yeah, I
taking the
mean,
7.5. I'm
you got
taking the hook.
Shador and I got McCarthy, so you could go wrong. All right, to close it out, my third and final pick and the sixth overall this Week 15 6 pack. I'm going with the Washington Commanders +2.5 at the Giants. See if this gets to 3. I doubt it, but there is.
That's
I'm
what
starting
I'm
to see
waiting
some.
on. I'm
Yeah,
dying for a 3.
there's some cheap 2.5s out there, so it could get there. Daniels has been ruled out early in the week. However, Mariota this year has been better than Daniels. EPA per
This is one of
dropback.
my that was my one of the premises for why I bet the Vikings last week because Daniels was starting.
There you go. Yeah, it's EPA per dropback. Mariota better. 0.029 to 0.017 success rate. Mariota 50.5%. Daniels 48.4%. Yards per attempt. Mariota 7.2. Daniels 6.9. The
Deep
Giants.
passing, he's actually throws the ball down the field. He's dealt with the blitz better. He's dealt with pressure better. I mean, Daniels has been miserable this year.
And two of your top receivers are back in McLaurin and then Noah Brown. Now you lost Zach Ertz, but you are deep at tight end. Bates is a really good blocker. They can, especially with McLaurin and Brown back, they don't need Ertz as much in this spot. So this Giants defense still bad against the run. The Commanders have Rodriguez, who's been very efficient, and they've just started to kind of get him going, but certain game scripts haven't really allowed them to. But the Giants overall, defensively, I know they fired Bowen, so they could be trending up. Who knows, coming off the bye. But 29th in DVOA, they're one of only 5 defenses worse than Washington.
And
Washington's
Washington will
better
be able
run.
to run the ball here.
Yeah, and that's really what they've been. I mean, they've just been in so many negative game scripts. They haven't covered much outside of that Denver game. It's been, but their expected scores, they've been unlucky, very unlucky. They should have been a lot closer in a lot of those games. And then another just a spot that we love.
Dog off a shutout.
Dog off a shutout, 62% against the spread since 2003 at 48, 29, and 2. Covering by over 2 points a game, 20% ROI. You go and look at the teams on the road in that spot. They're even better at 64% against the spread, covering by over 3 points a game. And then if you look at everything post October, so essentially the second half of the year, also 64%, 64.3% since 2003, covering by 3.1 points per game, over a 20% ROI. And you also mentioned, these home teams coming off the bye in the division are overrated. They've been about 40% against the spread over the last decade or so. So like the spot for the Commanders are probably still the better team. And the Giants have just lost excruciatingly close games or they'll get blown out. So Washington used to be a team that would struggle against the Giants, but they covered their last 3, I believe. Yeah, the last 3 games in this matchup. So like Washington here, like the adjustments Dan Quinn made defensively, it's still not a good defense, but against the Giants, they should be able to get it done here.
Yeah, and Giants are just going into like pure run it mode. And Dart, I don't think is going to run as much maybe after the concussion with them out of it. And I think that's one of their best weapons. But yeah, I mean, there's home field here is almost nothing. It's a team's home field is the highest when you have one team that doesn't play on the same type of surface and it's not a division game and
Yep.
it's at a different time than they're used to playing. This is 1 o'clock in division outdoors. Um, and there's, yeah, I mean, there is. at this point in time, there's almost nothing separating these teams. So I could make this like you could say that you could make this Giants -1, but this is a coin flip type game, and Washington's better with Mariota. I saw the announcement come out. Daniel's out, Mariota in, and I'm watching the board, and it went from 2 to 2.5 to juice
Yep.
2.5, and I'm like, just go to 3. So I'm
Yes,
waiting on that 3.
please.
It's also a good teaser piece. If it never gets to 3, maybe you compare it with like the Saints, getting them to 8.5 through 3 and 7 in a game that has a total of 40. That's a good teaser piece as well. So yeah, I agree with you here. They are much better. Their offense functions much more efficiently right now. It doesn't mean that Mariota is bad. I mean, Mariota is probably the best backup in the league, but he might be starting somewhere next year. It doesn't mean he's better than Daniels, but right now he is, and that offense is. Like, Daniels dealt with injuries. He just has never gotten a rhythm with this offense. Um, so yeah, and Washington will be able to run the ball here. So I agree with you. I think this line is a little too high.
Yeah, again, shop around for the 3 or wait for the 3. 2.5 is not really going to change much, but we have seen some, the Giants kind of getting juiced -2.5. So Washington could get to 3, a juice 3. We'll see how that goes. But that is our Week 15 6-pack. Stuckey got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Shador Sanders. So barbell strategy. Not seem to leave. Like it. I got Mariota, McCarthy, and Jordan Love. So 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 good ones. Hopefully I can
Half our quarterbacks are good.
Yeah, it's not good overall, but I need a week. Like, you just can't catch you no matter what. Like, go 2-1, hit whatever, just you're just staying hot. So hopefully this is the week, but I'll see how it goes. That's our Week 15 Sunday 6-pack. Again, if you like to tail these picks, just look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. Be sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked.